This story contains adult language and adult content, and it's been rated W for witch.
Yeah, hopefully I'm actually in this episode, unlike the last one.
Anyway, enjoy the witch's gloves.
Shift the source of illness born to this puppet, who none shall mourn.
I awoke to a hooded figure standing before me. A witch, much like Rhiannon, but more intimidating. Her black gloves were leather. One hand held a white candle which lit her face. The other held a knife at her side with carvings on it. She looked a little older and had scars on her cheekbones. Behind her, a fire burned under a cauldron. Was she about to throw me in? I scanned the room and saw a table of herbs, shelves of books, and vinyl records. One was playing on a turntable at that very moment. Many circles with markings were drawn on a blackboard. There were 10, 20, I don't know how many candles lit across the room. Then, I looked to my right and saw another witch grinning at me. She had red eyes and what looked like red hair under her hood. Then to my left, I saw Rhiannon smiling at me.
It's okay, Grace. You're safe. And thank you for not ratting me out to those creeps.
It was all coming back to me. The abduction, Rhiannon flying in to save me, her bird-like call. That's the last thing I remembered. I looked down at my clothes. They were gone. I was instead wearing some black silk gown. Had they really undressed me and put me in this thing? Okay, calm down. My clothes were probably just dirty since I fainted. Thankfully, my white gloves were still on. Where are my clothes?
We burned them!
It was the red-headed witch on my right side who said that, staring at me like she was possessed.
They carry the stench of those wicked boys. You should be thanking us.
But that top was from Lolo Renti. It cost me $100.
Grace, this woman who stands before you, this is Lady Janis, our coven leader. She's going to help you.
By burning my clothes?
Will you shut up about that?
This Lady Janis hadn't stopped staring at me. She inched closer.
I need you to remove your gloves.
I looked at my gloves, my last layer of protection. Why would they remove all my other clothes with these? I shook my head. I don't want to. Why? I never take my gloves off.
Listen, Blondie.
The redheaded snapped her gloved fingers, igniting a flame above them. I was so scared.
You don't question Lady Janis. Unless you want us to cook you in our cauldron. I bet you would taste so good.
All right, Rosalita, that's enough. We're trying to help her, not scare her.
She should be scared. We're powerful and should be feared and respected, and not lectured on some overpriced piece of clothing from some corporate store.
Enough!
Somehow, Janis's voice was even more intimidating. Both Rhiannon and Rosalita stepped back, but when Janis looked at me, her eyes softened.
Grace, we are not going to make you do anything you don't feel comfortable doing. If you don't want to take your gloves off, you're welcome to walk out the door right now. You'll be back in your comfortable home and have no memory of us. The men who attacked you, even Rhiannon, will just be some girl you've seen in class.
Really? I would very much like to forget all of this.
But Grace, I don't want you to. What just happened to you was horrific, but losing that memory is not worth giving up this moment. I know there is something inside of you that was intrigued by me, and aches to know more. Not just about me, but yourself.
Like what?
It's easier if you see for yourself. All you have to do is remove your gloves and trust us.
Despite her being a witch, the girl I was so enamored with was still there. And as much as my mind was convincing me to take up Janis's offer for a mind eraser, I wanted to know more. And I don't think that was just the love potion talking. I haven't shown anyone my bare hands, and actually, I don't know if I've ever shown anyone my bare hands.
Psh, you should see Rhiannon's.
Shh. Grace, we are not here to judge superficial beauty. Just take off the gloves. I'll give you black ones like mine. You're always staring at them.
Will you take them off for me?
You have to do it yourself. Otherwise, the spell won't work.
Spell?
To unlock your true self.
I still say it's not gonna work.
I couldn't remember the last time I ungloved my hands in front of somebody. Even just the act of taking my rings off in front of 3 strange women felt like I was undressing myself. Remember, these are my grandmother's rings. Please don't burn them.
Very well.
I was still shaking when I took my gloves off. The skin of my palms slowly revealed itself, dry, scabby, and finally, my discolored fingernails. I was wincing hard as they stared at my hands.
That's what all the fuss is about? Dear Cersei, I wish my hands looked half as good as yours.
Place your gloves on my knife.
Yes, ma'am. I neatly placed my white gloves on her witchy knife, and she proceeded to flick them into the fire burning the cauldron. Shocking as it was watching my protection burn, I felt it in my own hands.
It's okay. Your white gloves, all of your white clothes, they've blocked your energy for so long. You'll feel black magic return to you.
Black magic?
It's nothing to fear. Just give me your hand, and I'll help you through this.
Rhiannon rubbed my palm in a circular motion. The feeling of her rubber-clad hand on my bare skin felt alien after years of covering them up, but the burning sensation did go away. Her touch slowed down until she was pointing at a spot in the middle of my left palm.
Is this it?
We'll soon find out. Now try not to move around too much. You may experience discomfort.
Discomfort?
Yeah, she's only gonna cut your hand off.
Well, thankfully, I was starting to catch on that Rosalita was lying. I was nervous as I watched Janis's knife hover parallel over my palm while Rhiannon held it in place. Janis started moving the knife around in a circular motion. What were they about to do?
Powers and emotions tied. A witch's heart is where it hides. Help her through her agony. Bless her with her memory.
My hand felt weird, like something was moving the skin around. The spot on my hand started to grow until it formed a mark like a tattoo. One of a pentagram. The mark of the devil! Oh my god! What did you do to my hand?
Grace, it's okay.
What did you do?
Wow, it really did work.
Make it go away!
It's okay, Grace. It's your true self.
This is just a nightmare! I want to go home! I want to go! Rhiannon kissed me. She grabbed one side of my face, planted her lips on mine. My first kiss. I never imagined it to be like this, or even with another girl. But it did feel genuinely soothing. My mind was suddenly swarmed with weird images. I saw my younger self screaming at my hand, with the same pentagram only in blood. I saw my parents holding me down, some man with a needle, a cross wavering over my head. Blackness. Pure, utter blackness. And then finally, a pair of white gloves pulled over my small hands.
She must never remove these white gloves, if she is to stay pure in the eyes of the Lord.
Only when the images stopped was I brought back to my kiss with Rhiannon, who broke contact. She stared at me with remorse, still holding my marked hand. I didn't scream this time. I saw this marking on my hand. I've seen it before.
Then your power has been suppressed, along with your memory.
Isn't this the devil's mark?
That mark has been called many names over the millennia. We call it the witch's mark. All of us have it. It is both a curse and a blessing of great power from the goddess Cersei herself.
So, I'm a witch?
Yes. But like I said, you don't have to be a bad witch.
But it's so much more fun.
I feel like I'm gonna pass out again.
Your blood sugar must be low.
Sounds like you need some more of the most powerful magic. Chocolate. But let's cover your hands again first. I happen to have a pair of gloves that are going to fit your hands better than any you've ever worn.
Being fitted with a pair of tight rubber gloves felt so strange, even as someone who wore gloves on a daily basis. It didn't help that my mind was handling such confusing emotions. Of course, having Rhiannon fit them on me added a sensual nature to the act. The gloves were tight, but I was also relieved to see that pentagram on my palm covered up. Also, it was difficult to describe, but I could feel my energy being protected as Rhiannon had explained. Or maybe it was the tub of chocolate ice cream I was practically inhaling.
For Circe's sake. You keep eating that much, you'll be too fat to fly on your broomstick.
You know, Rosie, in college, they would refer to that as body shaming.
Oh, well then why don't you just join the normies, Stephanie?
Also, Grace, we don't actually fly on brooms. At least not on a nightly basis.
That practice has been corrupted by the patriarchy.
Meh, I still have nostalgia for seeing that image growing up.
So, what exactly do you all do?
We live. Or at least try to. Just because you're a witch doesn't mean your life has to change too dramatically. Rhiannon decided on her own accord to attend college and pursue her interests.
And that's how I met you. I could feel your essence from the moment our eyes met.
How am I going to explain this to everyone? To my roommate, to my parents?
No one needs to know. In fact, it's better that you keep this a secret.
But not for long. We're gonna show the world who we really are.
No! We will stay in the shadows for as long as boys like we saw earlier keep hunting us.
But Grace, we want to invite you to live here, with us, as a part of our coven.
Live here? With all of you? As a witch? With witch hunters coming after us?
Still be a lot better than some stupid preppy sorority. Oh, look at me. I'm in a sorority. I got knocked up by Brad from the football team.
Sounds like you'd be in good company, Rosie.
No, that was just my impression of you.
I mean, to come live with you all. Give up the life I've been leading. I don't even know if my parents will still accept me.
If they do, you'll be the first in this coven to keep your relationship with your parents.
Yeah.
Who needs parents? The only family we need is each other. We're like sisters if sisters had sex with each other.
Another joke.
Oh, I'm not joking. How do you think you're gonna unlock your power?
What?
Yes, Grace. In order to truly open your suppressed energy, you'll need to use the most powerful magic there is.
Sex magic.
What does that mean?
What do you think it means? It means you're gonna have sex with one of us. I would like to state for the record that I'm the best in bed.
Well, it doesn't have to be with one of us. It's really more about your awakening. I was just, kind of hoping you'd see your way to sharing it with me.
Aw, Rhiannon's in love.
Shut up!
But I was planning on waiting until my wedding day to...
Blondie, you gotta stop thinking like some submissive church servant and thinking which wedding dress you pick is the most important decision you'll ever make in your life.
Seriously? You guys don't even believe in marriage?
Marriage as a committed union to love can be a beautiful thing, but not in the obstinate way society forces upon us. To deny yourself the most primal of energies and pleasure, especially at the critical age you are, is to deny life itself.
I was always taught to resist those temptations. I was even reminded of it earlier today when
It's okay, Grace. You wouldn't have followed me if there wasn't something already there.
Then you need to explore these temptations to truly unlock your power. Grace, if you do want to be a part of our coven...
I have to have sex with a woman?
Lady Janis, if I may.
Of course.
Grace, why don't we go to my room so we can be alone?
Okay.
Take my hand.
You know, Janis, all this talk of sex magic has got me excited.
It's been a long evening. I'm not in the mood.
You're never in the mood.
Rhiannon led me by the hand to her bedroom. I could feel the 2 layers of rubber clasped together. The room still looked like a typical teenager's messy bedroom, except the sheets were black. There was a painted circle on the ceiling with that same pentagram inside. There was also another old stereo on her table. She pushed the cassette tape she had bought in. She also poured 2 drinks, mixing some of those same herbs she had used at the cafe. So, this is what it feels like to be lured into someone's bedroom for sex. I was shaking as we sat down together on her bed.
You okay?
Well, I just found out I'm a witch. My whole life is practically a lie. And I'm about to have sex with a girl I've only really known for a day. But other than that...
You know, you're not making it easy to set the mood.
Sorry.
It's okay. I know how you feel. I've been in this same spot before. It's okay to be nervous. But you really have nothing to fear. Making love is as natural as breathing. It's how both of us were created.
Yeah, except my parents were happily married when they decided to have me.
Well, mine weren't. And I know for a fact they regret having me now, seeing as how they threw my wicked ass out the door when I was 16.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It was years ago. Thanks Cersei, I met Janis, and she taught me to love myself for who I am, by showing me love firsthand. Something I'm hoping I'll be able to do for you. Of course, if you want to be alone, I can step out and let you have the bedroom.
No, I don't want to be alone. What do I do? How does this work?
Well, in order for the magic to work, you must name the desire, feel the pleasure, and so it is. But the act itself really does need to be something you desire. It should never feel forced. Sex is a beautiful, liberating feeling. The energy you feel from that release, releasing all toxicity in your body, is what makes it so powerful. Also why the patriarchy has criminalized it for centuries. They fear its power. They fear our sexual freedom. I want you to let go of any shame you've been forced to carry and feel this most primal euphoria. Believe me when I say, it feels fucking amazing.
Wow, you really do know how to set the mood. Okay, I'll try my best. But will you go slow?
Of course.
I don't know how much of this I feel like sharing. Candles were lit, the music continued to play, she recited spells. The simple act of kissing felt amazing by itself. Being this close to her, it felt more right than anything I'd ever felt before. Any knots in my stomach seemed to have disappeared right then and there. The feeling of her rubber fingers touching my skin added a whole different sensation. In fact, neither of our gloves ever actually came off. Eventually, I lied on the bed staring up at that painted circle. It was time for my initiation. Rhiannon whispered in my ear,
Tell me what you desire, my love.
I desire to know my true self. I want to be strong and... Oh, please, Rhiannon. Please, I want to feel it.
So you shall. By the earth that is her body, by the air that is her breath, by the fire that is her bright spirit, by the waters of her womb.
I couldn't even describe what happened. It was unlike anything I ever felt in my life. The heat returned with such beautiful intensity. I was in a trance, but when I came to, my body was off the bed. I was floating in midair. Rhiannon's jaw had dropped, and when she looked back at me, she smiled. Oh my god! How do I get down?
Focus on yourself being lowered back on the bed. Will it to be so.
I did just that, and saw the ceiling getting further away until I felt the sheets on my bare back. I did feel different, like I was someone else. Someone stronger. Worldlier.
How do you feel, Grace?
That was the most amazing thing I ever felt in my life.
Welcome to our cauldron.
I want more.
Then you shall have...
Suddenly, I just took charge and did for Rhiannon what she had done for me. For the first time in my life, I felt confident, like I was an adult. So this is what it felt like to be a witch. When the music stopped and the two of us were worn out, we just lied there, holding each other, staring up at that circle.
What does the pentagram actually mean?
It represents connection. The points are like the 5 elements.
5 elements? I thought there were 4. Earth, air, fire, water.
And spirit. That's what connects us together.
I feel like I have so much to learn. When will I shoot light out of my fingers?
It took me a long time to work out that spell. I'm still working on it. Janis will show you the way. Oh, I'm so tired. Why don't we sleep now? Janis can make you official in the morning.
Wait, Rhiannon, what happens to us now? Are we Does this mean you're my girlfriend now?
Grace, you and I now share a bond stronger than any couple you'd meet in our school. We're dedicated to each other, but also to our sisters, Lady Janis and, as much as it pains me to say it, Rosalita, too. Don't worry, you'll get used to her.
Is she going to want to sleep with me next?
Rosie will screw anything that moves. But let's talk more tomorrow. Try to sleep, my love.
Rhiannon fell asleep. She looked so beautiful lying beside me. That smile on her face showed that she was proud of all she had done. But I couldn't sleep. My mind was racing. I had lost my virginity to another woman. I was a lesbian, with kinky gloves on. That in and of itself would have gotten me banned from every church I had ever been to. Every word of warning my parents said came back to me. Even what Reverend Miller had said to me earlier. But I was a witch. After spending an hour failing to fall asleep, I got up and put on my black robe. Rhiannon must have felt my absence because she jittered around in the sheets. God, she was so beautiful. For a witch, she looked more like an angel lying there. I lit a candle and walked to the kitchen to get some water. I found Rosalita on the table passed out with an empty bottle of whiskey in her gloved hand. Unlike Rhiannon, there was something tragic about Rosalita. Like she had been wronged in her life. I was hoping I'd get to know her better. Looking around the house, I discovered a stairway to the roof with the door wide open. I walked up. The night sky was so beautiful. I had never seen so many stars in my life. The moon was burning bright. I could almost feel this feeling of bliss being in its presence. But what surprised me was Lady Janis standing near the edge. This looked completely like a different woman. She was wearing glasses, had a notepad in her hand, and was looking through a telescope. A table of science instruments and books was beside her.
What are you doing up here? You should be in bed with your lover.
I'm sorry, I couldn't sleep. Why aren't you in bed?
I don't sleep much. But I see Rhiannon was successful in awakening you.
Yeah, she was.
Well, we'll have much to celebrate in the morning. For now, I need to finish my work.
Where are we exactly? This house?
We're in the middle of the woods where it's safe. This old mansion once housed a large coven of witches centuries ago, before they were driven out. I found it, renovated it from the inside, not so much from the outside, so people would still be scared off by the haunted house. And now we call it home.
Well, you do get a nice view of the stars out here without light pollution.
Yes, definitely helps charting the position of the planets. It's integral to operating our magic.
Doesn't the full moon have something to do with the witch's power? Or am I thinking of werewolves?
Yes, the moon is integral to a witch's power, but also Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, Mercury, our own sun. Understanding your own position within the cosmos can help you to unlock your full potential.
Wow, it almost sounds scientific.
As a matter of fact, it is. Contrary to what your Christian teachings may have spoon-fed you, witchcraft is not just achieved by drinking the blood of Satan and sacrificing goats. Magic comes in many forms. Even dark magic is nothing to be feared. Darkness and light are merely two opposite but dependent entities.
So, is Christianity your ultimate enemy?
I do not judge every being who believes in the words of Christ. He said, "Blessed are the meek, and love thy neighbor." These are noble teachings, but there have been evil men who hide behind their dogma to persecute those they don't like. Witches have been quite high on that list. Witches did not sit at home, stay subservient, and save their bodies for their husbands. We were empowered. We embraced our magic and our sexuality, and we were hunted for it. Only a few miles from here is the spot where 19 people were hung for witchcraft, most of whom weren't even witches.
But that was 300 years ago. Mankind must be more accepting by now.
Not from where I've stood. I was taken by a group of extremists when I was even younger than you. You won't find them in any newsprint, but they take it upon themselves to rid the world of the evils of witchcraft, or even any form of feminism.
You were captured by these people?
I was just a girl. So terrified of my own transformation that I allowed a total stranger, a hooded pastor, to get the best of me and separate my wicked hide from society. The pastor reminded me every day that I would spend eternity in hell. Spending my teenage years in that cell sure felt like hell. Only by tuning into the very stars in the sky was I able to hone my craft and finally escape. There were other witches, but they were not as lucky as I was.
Janis, I'm so sorry. I can't believe someone who pledged himself before God would commit such atrocities.
It's unfortunately more common than you think. Then and there I made it my mission to help marked witches and stop violence against all women, or any oppressed person for that matter. You can be a part of that, Grace. Be a part of our cause.
I have to go to college and fight bad guys? Sounds like some Saturday morning cartoon.
Well, perhaps it is.
Lady Janis, forgive me for saying this, but you seem so different than when I first saw you. I was honestly scared of you.
A necessary fear. I'm still just a woman, like you. But I have to show strength both for my sisters and to stand against... There's someone in the woods.
What?
From the south. They're making their way here. Take my books downstairs and blow out all the candles. Wake up the others.
Wait, who? Who's coming? Bad men?
Could just be campers, kids wanting to see a haunted house, or something else.
I was scared again, but I obeyed Janis's commands. After putting the books away, I shook Rosalita awake. Rosalita! Rosalita!
I don't want to wear the pink dress.
Rosalita, someone's coming! Janis told me to blow out all the candles.
What? Oh, for Cersei's sake. Where's Rhiannon?
I'll wake her.
I'll take care of the candles.
Rhiannon?
No, sleep now, Grace.
Someone's coming. Janis told me to get you.
I need to board up my window. Make sure all the candles are out.
And so the house looked empty. Rhiannon and I went back up to the roof where Janis and Rosalita were crouched down, with a small window to look down to the ground with various debris and wood all around. We watched 4 men emerge from the woods. It was the 3 thugs I had run into earlier, but this time with another hooded man. His face was covered so we couldn't see him.
Them again. Don't they ever learn?
This is it. This has to be their house.
Sam, no one's lived here for years.
Right. The perfect hiding spot. I'll shoot down the door.
He has a gun!
I hate guns, the worst thing ever invented by man.
And something we should have for this very situation. I keep telling you.
I'm not getting one of those tools of death.
Are they going to kill us?
It's okay, Grace. This house has a protection spell on it. Our clothes, too.
Still, the best defense is if no one knows we're here.
Let me take them, Janis. I'll burn there.
You'll do no such thing, Rosalita. You'll sit here and wait for them to leave.
And if they don't leave?
Allow me. Of course, Master.
Call on God's wrath to find these witches.
What the... It can't be.
What?
Janis didn't answer as this hooded master came closer to the door. He had his hands out as if touching the door would give him the answers. Janis got onto her knees and spread her fingers across the floor below.
Cersei, protect this house. Don't let him see us.
You've been listening to The Witch's Gloves, written and produced by Jim Savy, starring KendoGurl as Grace,
Bree Frankel as Rhiannon,
Ranita Bowers as Janis,
Mars Mentality as Rosalita,
Danielle Ferguson as Christine,
Alyce Spencer as Nancy, and this story's very own witch law consultant.
Samuel Baker as Bobby,
Wilfer Jones Gatlin as Samuel,
Mike Farron as Jonathan,
Justin Ali as Thomas,
Webdell as Professor Green,
and Jim Savy as Reverend Miller.
Special thanks to Anna, Kwan, and Olivia Fairless for contributing to the artwork. The story continues in the next episode.